Are you tired of your braids looking like this? Or even coming out like this? Well, you clicked on the right video, because in this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to keep your braids looking nice, fresh, and clean, and how to maintain your braids for the weeks to come. If you're new to the channel, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and subscribe and turn on post notifications. And since I already know you're going to love this video and find it extremely helpful, go ahead and hit the like button. Now, without further ado, let's dive in. Hey guys, it's your boy Kozak, and I'm back with another video. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to maintain your braids so that you can keep them looking nice, fresh, and neat. Alright, I get a lot of questions on how I keep my braids looking so crisp, looking so clean, and I'm going to show you exactly how I do that. So this is what we're working with here. These are about 2 weeks old. You can kind of tell just by my lineup here, you know, it's not looking the freshest. Time for another haircut, and I get a haircut every 2 weeks. So this is what we're working with. They're still very clean, still very crispy, and to be honest, I could probably keep these in for a whole nother month or month and a half. You're gonna need a couple things. One of them is gonna be a do-rag. I'm gonna go with this one just because it's a little bit better, and it's a little bit better at giving you compression, and that's kind of what we're looking for. If you want this do-rag for yourself, I'll leave a link to it down in the description below, or you can just hit the product page on the screen. All right, we're gonna go ahead and grab our do-rag. I'm gonna show you guys first how you want to sleep with your braids so that you can properly maintain them. A very important part of this is going to be having a really good do-rag. So this do-rag is a little special because it has 2 Velcro straps in the front as well as 2 in the back. I tend to just use the 2 in the front because the 2 in the back gives you a little bit too much compression, at least in my opinion. But if you want to make sure your braids don't move an inch, then I definitely recommend using all 4 straps. What you're going to do here is you're going to first adjust your braids just to make sure everything's sitting properly before you put your do-rag on. You don't want anything to be sitting improperly. As you can see, this one kind of sticking out. I'll move that behind my ear. And then, you know, you just adjust all of your braids to make sure they're sitting straight individually, properly, the way that you'd want them to sit if you didn't have a do-rag on. So you're going to keep that in mind. Next, you're going to need a head scarf or a scarf or whatever you want to call it. This is also very important. It's super duper important that you get one that is very thin. Please do not get a very thick one. The thicker it is, the more it's going to annoy the mess out of you. So it's very important to get a thick one, just because if you think about it, the ones that are thicker are kind of like swoosh pants. And if you know what swoosh pants are, just imagine that, but like directly in your ear while you're trying to sleep. So yeah, you don't want that. You want one that's thin, that's not going to bother your ears at all, and that's still going to keep and hold your braids in place. All right, just making some final adjustments here, making sure none of my braids are overlapping, making sure none of them are in any crazy positions, and making sure that I tug and pull on each of these braids to make sure that I'm getting the full length of each braid and it's not scrunched up at the top of the do-rag or anything. Perfect. After that, you're going to go ahead and grab your head scarf, sit that on top of your head, and you're just going to make a small knot. Nothing crazy. You don't have to strangle yourself, just a small knot to where it just won't come undone. So I'm going to make the knot here. As you can see, you don't have to tighten it to death. You don't have to have the knot strangle you. You want to make sure you keep a bit of space underneath your chin, just to make sure you're not getting any sort of discomfort or anything. It should be completely comfortable. And the only purpose of putting this scarf on your head over the do-rag is to make sure that your braids stay in the proper position while you sleep. So now you're not going to have your braids being tampered with, manipulated with. Your pillow isn't going to mess up your braids. When you wake up in the morning, your braids isn't going to be all scrunched up and curly. You're going to have proper braids. You can just wake up in the morning, pop off your scarf, pop off your do-rag, and have your braids look as good as when you first got them done. So all right, we're gonna go off to sleep here. I'm gonna show you what you do in the morning. So once you wake up, you're gonna go ahead and remove your scarf, remove your do-rag, and you should be good to go. Now I'm going to show you how to keep your braids moisturized. This is a very important part. What you're going to need here is you're going to need a hair oil. You're going to apply this on your scalp as well as your actual hair. I'm going to be using wild growth as well as rosemary oil. These are the two that I like to use, as well as I like to use them together. So we're going to start off with the rosemary oil here. What you're going to do is you're going to apply the oil directly to your scalp in between each of your individual parts. I recommend getting somebody else to do this for you because it's a little easier to do if you don't have a mirror. But if you don't have anyone that can do it for you, just take your time and make sure you're doing every single part vertically, horizontally. You're hitting every single part in between each of your individual braids. Also, be sure not to use too much oil. You can see me just lightly dabbing and lightly applying oil to each of those sections. You do not want to be just drowning your scalp in oil. That's way too much oil and you will literally ruin your braids. So just a light amount of oil. It's very easy to spread throughout your scalp, so you really don't need too much. All right, now you're gonna take your pinky and you're gonna work that oil into each of the individual sections. So each of these individual parts, you're gonna work it into the actual hair now. It's very important to get it underneath and into the braid so that your hair can actually, and your scalp can actually absorb in those areas that isn't exposed. So you're just gonna lightly just swipe the oil into each of those little parts there. And make sure you're being gentle. Make sure you're being delicate. You don't want to manipulate or touch your hair too much because it will cause frizz and it will cause your braids to get fuzzy. And a large part of braids is kind of what the root of your scalp looks like. So if it's all fuzzy and messed up, it's not gonna look very well. So you want to be gentle. You don't want to manipulate it too much. Be light, be gentle, and just work the oil lightly into each of those sections there. All right, so next up, we're gonna be using Wild Growth. We're now gonna actually apply the oil into our actual hair. Remember, all the products that I use in this video will be linked in the description below, or if I can't find them, I'll give you an alternative. Just scroll down in the description or click the product page. But okay, you're gonna apply a bit in your hands. You really don't need too much. You're gonna rub your hands together and now you're going to now apply it directly into your braids. The technique here that you want to use is you want to lightly squeeze your braid and then allow it to absorb some of that oil. So you're going to squeeze your braid and allow it to absorb some of that oil. You want to make sure you're being gentle, as well as you want to be very thorough and make sure you hit every single braid. As you can see me going through and individually hitting each of those braids, I'm just lightly squeezing the braid, allowing it to absorb some of the moisture. Braids are very, very, very good at holding in moisture on their own. Any protective style is pretty good at holding in moisture, better than what it would be like if your hair was just out and exposed. So because of this, you really don't have to apply moisture into your hair too often. If you got braids, I recommend that you only apply moisture in your hair once or twice a week. You really don't have to do it as often as you think because your braids are that good at holding in moisture. Of course, there are some exceptions, like if you have very, very dry hair or very dry scalp, you can feel more inclined to apply moisture into your hair or your scalp more often. Or if you're the opposite and you have a very oily scalp and hair, then you can feel less inclined or apply it less often. It just kind of comes down to each individual person, but on average, I'd say apply it once or twice a week. All right, after applying oil into your hair, you can see it gives your hair a bit more weight. So if you had very stiff, very dry braids, applying oil to it is going to give it more weight and it's going to be mobile like that. This is what we're working with. It looks a little bit more cleaner than when we started. It looks more hydrated. It looks more radiant, and that's exactly what we want to see. So yeah, after that, you're ready to go about your day or, throw a do-rag on and just lounge around the house. If you need a detailed tutorial on how to properly tie your do-rag so that's not uncomfortable and that your braids aren't shifting underneath it, then you can watch my video on screen here. You can find it on my channel. But yeah, that is how to maintain your braids so that they can stay fresh, nice, and clean. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave this video a like. It's greatly appreciated. And if you super enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a super thanks. It's like leaving a little tip and it directly helps out the channel. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and turn on post notifications. What are you waiting for? If you care about your hair, which I know you do, then this is definitely the channel for you. So subscribe and turn on post notifications so that you can stay notified. But yeah, that's all the time that I have for you guys today. Thank you for coming and seeing me. I'm Kozak, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Peace out.